We live in such a fast-paced world, don't we? Every single day, it feels like we just launch ourselves straight into the noise. The deadlines, all the responsibilities, the roles we have to play. Parent, worker, planner, achiever. It's just constant motion, always looking for the next thing. But I've been thinking a lot lately about that single moment, that quiet, almost fragile moment, before all that noise really starts. That instant when you're just you're simply here, still, before the identity for the day kind of clicks in.
That moment you're describing, many traditions actually call it the sacred window.
The sacred window?
Yes. And it's not really about minutes on a clock, though. It often corresponds to maybe the first 10 minutes after waking. It's defined more by its potential, by presence. Think about it this way. Before the world starts talking at you, through your phone or whatever, there's silence. And before your mind starts racing with plans or maybe fears or worries, there's this deep, deep stillness, a kind of receptive quiet. In that space, it's like consciousness itself is holding its breath, waiting to see how you'll choose to meet the day ahead.
What do we usually choose? I mean, speaking for myself, and I suspect for a lot of people listening, my eyes open, and honestly, sometimes before I'm even properly awake, my hand is already reaching out.
For the phone.
Exactly. The phone becomes this sort of anchor back to reality, but maybe a negative anchor. The notifications just flood in. It feels like an invasion sometimes. And suddenly I haven't chosen how I want to be. I've just inherited all the stress from yesterday and the anxieties about tomorrow. It's like starting the day already feeling a bit defeated.
We do. We give away our control, our sovereignty right at the very beginning. We surrender that brief, potent window. It's a time we often treat as just dead time, something to rush through to get to the coffee, when actually it might just be the most sacred, the most powerful time of the entire day.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's really get to the root of that power.
Yeah.
Why is that specific transition, that moment between sleep and waking, why is it so uniquely valuable?
Well, one way to understand it is through the concept of shoshin, beginner's mind.
Beginner's mind, yeah.
It's that quality of openness, a kind of raw eagerness, unburdened by what happened yesterday or what you expect from today.
Yeah.
And we're most open to that state, most accessible to it, in that really delicate space between the dream world and being fully conscious. In that moment, your mind is remarkably pure. It's like, imagine dew on a lotus leaf. It hasn't picked up any of the dust or the grit from the day's demands yet. You're just awareness. Pure awareness, without your job title, without your anxieties, without that endless to-do list attached.
That's a beautiful image. Yeah. The dew on the lotus leaf. But you also mentioned this isn't just poetry, it's grounded in reality. For someone listening who needs to understand the sort of mechanics, what's actually happening in our brains right then that makes us so receptive?
Oh, it's absolutely grounded. Neuroscientists, they call this the hypnopompic state, which is really just a fancy name for that highly liminal zone, that in-between place where the subconscious thoughts from sleep are starting to dissolve and the conscious thoughts of the day are just beginning to form. Because your usual conscious filters, your judgments, your plans, they aren't fully active yet. The mind is uniquely malleable. It's highly suggestible. Imagine your consciousness is like wet clay, right then. It's perfectly ready to be gently shaped by the very first input it receives. So if that first input is, frantically checking emails or stressing about the day or just rushing, well, the clay starts to set in that anxious shape.
Wow. So we take this unique, luminous clay, and we often rush to set it in the most anxious form possible, checking notifications, inheriting conflicts before we've even properly sat up in bed.
We treat the beginning as a reaction instead of an intention. And this is why the first real shift, the practical shift, it'd have to be internal. If we manage to pause, even for a moment, in that still state, the right question to ask ourselves isn't about action.
Right, because my internal monologue, it almost always jumps straight to the tasks. What do I have to do today? What fires need putting out?
And that is the pivotal shift we need to make. The question isn't, what must I do today? The question that helps you reclaim your presence, that sets your inner compass for the day is, who do I wish to be today? You see, the heart of this morning practice, it's about presence. It's not about productivity, not another optimization hack. You're setting a quality for your day, not a quantity of tasks.
Okay, wait. I need to push back on that a little gently. Because for so many people, that pressure to immediately start preparing for the day, the deadlines, the emails, getting kids ready, it doesn't feel like an illusion. That pressure feels very real. It's tied to paychecks, to responsibilities. How do we square that urgent reality with this call for stillness?
That's a very honest and important question. The pressure to prepare is certainly real, yes. But the illusion is perhaps that rushing actually helps the preparation. Rushing often just primes our stress response. It makes us less creative, less resourceful, less capable when the actual challenges of the day arrive. There's the story of Ananda, the Buddha's attendant. He spent decades striving, so dedicated to the path, but he only attained enlightenment when he finally stopped preparing for awakening and simply started living it, beginning with the very first breath of his day. Your morning isn't just preparation for life, it is life, happening right now. You can meet the inevitable chaos from a center of calm, or you can meet it from a center of panic. The choice starts there.
So the point isn't that the pressure magically disappears. It's that we choose the foundation, the inner state from which we respond to it.
Exactly. This is what some call the decision cascade in behavioral science terms. If your first intentional act is positive, maybe just a conscious breath, a moment feeling your feet on the floor, you activate the prefrontal cortex. That's your center for reason, for self-regulation. That sets a positive frequency for the day. But if your first act is reactive grabbing the phone, a sudden jolt of anxiety about a meeting, you prime your brain differently. You prime it for scarcity, for reaction, for worry. You're almost wiring yourself to, potentially snap about something small later or catastrophize about a work issue.
Well, so by choosing stillness, even briefly, we're not just aiming to feel slightly better. We're changing our nervous system's operating instructions for the whole day.
You are quite literally designing your nervous system's response to reality. You are creating the architecture of your awakening, moment by moment. And the beauty is, this doesn't require hours of meditation. It requires intention, focused intention in those first crucial minutes. We can approach this really practically. Think of it as passing through 3 simple, ancient, yet incredibly powerful gates: the body, the breath, and the intention.
3 gates.
Oh.
Gates to walk through gently before we kind of dive into the day's demands. Let's start with the first one. You mentioned the body.
Gate 1 is the body. It's about returning to earth, you could say. We spend so much time living up in our heads, don't we? Planning, simulating futures, worrying about the past. The body, though. The body is the anchor. It's the ground of our actual present experience. So when you wake, the first act can be simply to reclaim your body from that busy planning mind.
Okay, but how do you do that without it instantly feeling like another chore? Like, oh, great, now I need to do a complicated stretching routine before coffee.
It's about sensing for connection, not striving for performance. Very simple actions. Before you even move, just feel the weight of your body. Feel it pressing down into the mattress. That sensation of gravity. Maybe sense the slow, subtle rhythm of your chest rising and falling with your breath. And then when you do swing your legs out of bed, pause for just a second. Let your bare feet actually feel the floor, that tiny pause. That's not exercise, it's embodiment. It's about arriving slowly, consciously in the room, rather than launching yourself out of bed.
That distinction is really helpful. Embodiment versus exercise, it's about grounding first.
And there's a biological benefit too. Tuning into these internal bodily sensations, scientists call this interoception, it actually activates parts of the brain linked to self-awareness and emotional regulation. It's simple, really. If you can't feel your body, it's very hard to feel yourself, to know how you are. Feeling your body is the first step towards self-regulation.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But that connection can feel, fragile. I feel like I can grasp the body part, but then stress hits, and the first thing that goes haywire for me, the immediate sign I'm spinning out, is my breathing. Get shallow, fast. Is that where we go next? The breath.
It is indeed. Gate 2 is the breath. Think of it as the bridge between worlds. The breath is this constant, often unseen force. It lives right at the intersection of our automatic bodily functions and our conscious will. It's the only system that runs on autopilot, but that we can also consciously choose to guide.
And like I said, when we're stressed or hurried, especially first thing, our breath becomes so shallow, often just quick sips high up in the chest. That morning cortisol rush doesn't help.
Right. And that shallow breathing is actually signaling danger or stress to your brain. It keeps that cycle going. So to consciously reverse that signal, we can use the simple ancient practice of mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati. The immediate action right there in bed or sitting on the edge is just 3 full conscious breaths. Inhale slowly, maybe through the nose, really letting the belly expand softly like a balloon filling, and then crucially, make the exhale a little longer than the inhale. Let it go fully. Imagine tension releasing with that out breath. Just do that 3 times, slowly, intentionally.
3 conscious breaths. Before the thoughts really take hold, that feels manageable, like an immediate intervention you can actually do.
It's incredibly profound because by gently guiding your breath in this way, you send an immediate signal of safety to your nervous system. You're essentially telling your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, it's okay, we're safe right now.
Mhm.
This helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest mode. So in about 30 seconds, maybe a minute, you can consciously shift yourself from survival mode into presence mode. Your breath, in that moment, it can become like a silent prayer almost, a quiet affirmation. I receive this day. I release my need to control or dominate.
Okay, so we have the body grounded, the breath calm. That really does feel like clearing the slate, which brings us to the third gate, which you said was perhaps the most subtle, intention.
Yes, gate 3 is intention, planting the seed for the day. And it's really important here to differentiate intention from, say, a goal. A goal is usually a destination, something external to achieve, or a to-do list, which is just a set of tasks. Intention, in this context, is more about a quality you wish to embody. It's a direction of the heart. It guides how you want to move through the day, whatever comes your way.
It can feel a bit abstract, maybe, especially when we're so used to measuring success by what we do. Can you give some concrete examples? What might this kind of heart-centered intention sound like in a normal, busy life?
Absolutely. So instead of waking up and the first thought being, I absolutely must finish that report today, which is a goal, the intention might be something like, today, I choose to bring patience to my interactions, perhaps especially if you have difficult meetings, or today, I aim to meet challenges with curiosity rather than immediate fear or resistance. It echoes that ancient Buddhist aspiration. May my actions bring benefit. May they cause no harm. You're setting an internal magnetic north for yourself. It guides your responses rather than just dictating your actions on a map of external milestones.
That shift in focus, moving from external results to internal quality, that feels like where the resilience comes in, right?
It absolutely creates a kind of neurological priming. When you set a positive values-based intention first thing, you're essentially giving your brain a filter for the day. It increases emotional resilience, yes, and even creativity. Think of the mind like a farmer's field again. The seeds you plant in the morning, maybe compassion, maybe curiosity, maybe calm presence, they tend to grow fastest. They define the landscape of your day. Because the soil, you could say, is freshly tilled by sleep. It's fertile ground. If you sow anxiety first thing, well, you're likely to harvest more anxiety throughout the day. If you sow intention, you harvest clarity and purpose.
So the whole focus shifts and moves away from what do I want to achieve today and becomes more about who do I want to be while I'm achieving whatever needs to be done.
Precisely. And this is where it gets really practical and maybe even liberating. This quiet revolution we're talking about. It isn't about adopting some complex, rigid ritual you have to perform perfectly every single morning. It's not about success or failure. It's actually about honesty and self-compassion. I mean, I know I sometimes reach for the phone before I've taken that conscious breath. The pull is strong.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
Yeah.
I think I've caught myself scrolling through something while I'm still half asleep. And let's be real, some mornings are just messy. You wake up exhausted before you even start, or maybe a child is already crying, or your mind is just instantly racing about work. The idea of performing some flawless morning ritual on those days feels like another pressure, another thing to fail at.
Exactly, and that is the myth we really need to discard. This practice is not about achieving some perfect 4 a.m. wake up or making the perfect golden milk or never having a rushed thought. The real power lies in making just one conscious choice, one single moment of pause. It could literally be one conscious breath before your hand actually touches the phone, or maybe it's just feeling your feet on the floor for 3 seconds before you stand up. That single tiny moment, that's a crack in the armor of autopilot. That's the beginning. And that makes this practice accessible to absolutely everyone, regardless of your schedule, your energy levels, your life circumstances.
So it really becomes a practice of presence, not striving for perfection.
Exactly that. Presence over performance. And the core principle is simply returning. If you forget one morning or 10 mornings, you just return the next. If you start rushing, the moment you notice it, you take one conscious breath. You return. The power isn't in achieving some flawless, unbroken streak. It's in the consistent, gentle homecoming, coming back to your body, back to your breath, back to your intention, again and again. This ties back to that fundamental idea of habitual momentum.
Habitual momentum.
Meaning the patterns we reinforce day after day. Karma, in the sense of action and consequence, isn't some fixed destiny. It's the result of the habits we cultivate. And the pattern for your entire day, the energetic template, is often set by the state you forge or allow in those crucial first 10 minutes, in a very real way. How you wake up is how you live your day. If you wake into stillness, into conscious presence, you're more likely to meet the day's events, the good and the bad, as if tending a garden. with awareness, with care. If you wake into reactivity and rush, you're more likely to experience the day as a battlefield to be fought and won.
That's a profound shift in perspective. The idea that the day stops just happening to you, and instead it begins to unfold through you, guided by that quiet, chosen intention from the morning, affecting everything, relationships, challenges, decisions. Thank you. This has been incredibly insightful, guiding us through this architecture of awakening and showing how those first few minutes really can be reclaimed.
It's truly a quiet reclamation, isn't it? Not a productivity hack, but as you said, a daily homecoming. And perhaps for you listening, a final thought to carry into your own stillness, into your own morning tomorrow. Consider this: you are not just starting your day, you are offering it. And in that shift from taking or demanding to offering, everything can transform.
A beautiful thought to end on. Offering the day. Thank you.